weekly dog show. We are finally here. It's 2018 and we've got some awesome new episodes for you. I know we were away for a while. We apologize about that, partly because of the festive season and partly because we were making changes, but we've now done all of that and we're back and we are going to come up with some cracking episodes every single week for you, and we'll let you know about them, we'll notify you, and we will not be going away anytime soon, at least not this year. Right. So let's start our show with a couple of the changes that we've made. We've made a few changes. I mean, as you can notice, I am no longer in my suit. I've decided that suit's too formal. I'm going to chop up the attire a little bit. It's a new year. Let's make things a little bit more comfortable. And I thought, what's better than what's more comfortable actually than a sweater top? And funny story about this sweater top. When I was coming back from my vacation in Cape Union Mart, Santon, I came across this really cool store, and it was quite interesting. I heard that it's a Swedish store, and they actually, being Swedes, they've got to do everything different. There might be a French accent, but they actually displayed their clothing very differently, which I thought was quite refreshing. No other store displays their clothing like that. So I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. Let me go inside and let me take a look at what type of garments they have, what type of sweaters they have, sweater in particular, something that suits our brand with the color red. And when I actually went in and I was picking my sweaters off the floor, I sort of came across this one. And this one's so cool because it's got a cool little tagline, completely neutral, and I'm not entirely sure what this means. It must be a Swedish word for like maybe chickpea or watermelon, who knows. But I thought, very cool tagline, pretty much liked it, so I thought, well, let me take this one, and off I went. I went home and said, okay, well, this is the new sweater I'm going to use for the studio. And then afterwards, I kind of heard something that sort of made me feel a little uneasy about my change. And that is that Julius was in town doing some remodeling.
Is this allowed? Woo! Ninja style. God damn! Oh, ninja! Yeah, ninja!
Holy shit! Just one sec. Just give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Apologies about that, had to go take a call. We were talking about changes to the show. Right, our changes actually are the fact that we've changed the content, we've changed the intro song, and we've changed the background. And, well, we haven't changed much else. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about Julius Malema and his crew going around and remodeling a couple of retail stores in Johannesburg. And let's talk about how all of this started. Now, a particular retail company in Sweden posted a picture on their, or not posted, but they actually uploaded a picture on their online store of a black kid wearing a particular type of sweater. And, well, here it is. Here it is. Can you read that? That says, "The coolest monkey in the jungle." Now, a lot of people may think, oh, well, that's cute. But is it? Yes, it may be, but on the other side of the coin, no, it's not. It absolutely is not cute. Now, here are the things. There are two arguments to this whole situation, and there's Julius Malema's point of view, who's granted, he is defending the dignity of the black people, which I completely agree with. And I think that his stand in the whole situation is very dignified, and I think that it's a great thing that he's standing for the dignity of black people, and I applaud him for that. On the other side of the spectrum, was this an intentional thing that was done by this particular retailer? And let's start with this side of the spectrum, where did the retailer do this intentionally? And I must be honest, I would like to say no. I don't think that any company, let alone a company of this size, would actually commit corporate suicide by intentionally attacking or directing this towards black people. I think it would be absolutely ridiculous to think that they would do this intentionally. This was definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, an oversight. A stupid oversight, but an oversight nonetheless. Now, just think about the stupidity around this. I mean, think about the process that this particular picture needs to go through before it's actually posted online. It needs to go, well, it's got to be conceptualized by somebody, so it's going to be the marketing manager, the marketing team is going to come up with a campaign for these particular products. Now, they obviously know every single product that is going to be put on store. Then it's got to go from there to photography studio, who's going to take pictures with them and the little models, whether it be a white kid or a black kid, it makes no difference. And they are now taking pictures of this. And they decide to put a black kid in this particular sweater. Then afterwards, take the pictures, send it back for editing, and while the editors are editing all these pictures, making them look all nice and pretty, and then taking it from there, chopping it and changing it back to the marketing team, probably, to take a look at the imagery and to see if they like the fact that these pictures look good and the products look good on the particular models. And then it goes from there to the digital agency, who's now going to upload it to the online store. And at no stage through this entire process did anybody, not one person, actually sit up and say, or stand up and say, sorry, wait a second, is this not a little racist? I mean, I don't know, but don't you think this is a little racist? Don't you think this will be taken in bad taste? Not one person actually stood up and said that. How does this go through that entire process and nobody actually sees that this will be misconstrued? Now, you might think that a lot of arguments are that, you know, this was innocent, and I can agree with that. It probably was innocent. It's not something, I don't think that the Swedes are actually looking at color and saying, ha ha ha, let's attack black people. I genuinely don't think that they would do that. A corporation of that size would never ever take the risk, intentionally, of doing something this profoundly stupid in today's day and age. However, let's talk about the other side of this argument, and that is from Julius Malema and the EFF's point of view. Now, I can completely understand why this is offensive, because this term monkey, even though it's just an animal, has been used in a derogatory fashion before, in apartheid days, and maybe still even today, by many white people who actually would and have called black people monkeys. Now, that is an absolute legitimate thing to take offense by. I actually think that this is something that I would be offended as a black person as well. I don't think that this should have been put up, whether it was intentional or unintentionally. I don't think this should have ever made its appearance on the online store, because that is definitely something that is offensive. It brings up your negative emotions. It is referencing black people to a particular type of animal, even though it may seem something like it's cute and like it's endearing. It's stupid, and it should have never ever have been done. And I can completely understand why Julius Malema was upset about this. I understand the reason why he would go and protest this. This is something that is genuinely insulting. But I do not agree with the way that he did it. I don't think that it was necessary to go to retail stores across South Africa and trash them. Specifically for the fact that this was conceptualized and put together by a marketing team in Sweden. Okay, it was put on an online store in London, and then, or a generic online store, and then afterwards certain garments were put into their stores there. We did not have this garment in South Africa, and this is something that, even though is offensive, wasn't even here. And I just think that I understand the offense, and I really do appreciate the fact that Julius Malema is trying to safeguard the dignity of black people, which I take my hat off to him for doing. I just think going and trashing stores does not add any sort of credence to the overall argument or the overall protest. I actually just think that people turn around and say, look at those thugs going and damaging stores and that kind of thing. And I think that it could have been handled a lot more delicately if you wanted to go around the stores and, block up shopping centers and in protest, so that you would have made media headlines either way. I just don't think you needed to go and destroy property because of that. Look, it's not to say that Julius Malema isn't funny when he does these certain things. I mean, Julius Malema is like, look at that mannequin, kick that mannequin, kick the railings, the stupid white people, out of this country no more. I think he's unbelievably hysterical, and I actually really do genuinely enjoy him and actually like him, and I agree with so many of the things that he says that he does in terms of safeguarding black people's dignities. I just think in this particular case, I think he took it a little too far, and it was unnecessary. It could have been done in a completely different way. As for the actual retailer in Sweden and the marketing team in Sweden, they are as dumb as a bag of bricks to have ever let this hit the online world. We'll be right back. Right, and welcome back, and on to our international news. Now, we only have one story for you tonight, and it's one that I actually thought was quite interesting, since it has been dominating media headlines, and that story is about shitholes. Now, we are talking about this shithole in particular, the one that never closes his mouth and has wheat for hair. Now, this prick has gone around and said that why should America accept immigrants from shithole countries, referring to Africa and African nations and Haiti. Now, he might not have been referring to all African countries, but we don't really know, because he's not really good with the words, because his reading material are like below a grade 0 level, so we'll give him a break over there. We don't want to confuse him bigly. Now, he has said that African countries and Haiti are shithole countries. Now, it doesn't mean that African countries don't have their problems. Yes, they do. But I am an African and I live in South Africa, and I by no means think that our country is a shithole. I think it's actually a beautiful, peaceful country that is very diverse, loves its people, and even though we do have problems with our politics and with certain elements in our economy and certain elements in our sort of communities, we still are a very united, very proud nation, and there is nothing to be embarrassed about being an African nation. Now, let's talk a little bit about the country who's supposedly not a shithole, which is America, whatever, however they like to say it. Now, they are currently being controlled by a white demonic demagogue who's an absolute prick, and let's see, he dislikes black people, although he might not have said it loudly. I mean, apparently he's not a racist, but I can assure you he is. He's never submitted his tax returns. He's consistently saying inflammatory things about different races. He's insulted a Gold Star family. He said that he likes to grab women by the pussy. He may or may not have colluded with Russia. He's pulled a tax reform that is going to benefit the rich. He is trying to completely damage Obamacare that was working. He is building a wall to keep people out so that his America First program, whatever the fuck that is, can thrive. He is deporting immigrants purely because they are from the DACA program, and even though they were accepted by the Obama administration, he believes that these people just shouldn't be there. He has a huge boner for white supremacist groups and says that there are great people on that side of the party. He used to have a big boner for Putin, but God knows what happens there. And he's done so many other things that have completely just absolutely infuriated people. Now, if you're talking about a shithole country, maybe you're not there yet, and maybe you've got a big military and you've got big wild things that happen in America with your companies and your Silicon Valley and whatever else. But I can assure you one thing: give America enough years with this prick in it, we're going to see an America First, Make America Great sort of country very quickly turn into a shithole country, and then we can say, why should we accept people from that shithole country in our peaceful country? And that's about it. I just thought that was quite an interesting story. I thought that it would be great to tear down this arsehole. And that's about it. That concludes our show for this evening. We now kept it nice and short. We thought that those two stories in particular were quite interesting, and that's why we brought them to you. And please catch us again next week for another episode. We will post everything on social media. We'll also put everything on YouTube. Please do go to our YouTube channel and subscribe down below. Click the bell icon and the like button if you like this video. And well, if you're gonna be like that, then don't click the bell icon and don't click the like button. But thank you so much for watching. We're so glad to be back. Thank you for supporting us. We love you guys. We love this show, and we're going to keep going. Keep taking up some stories and bring them to you, and twisting and turning them and showing you the truth behind the whole sort of craziness that is currently happening in this world. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great evening. We'll see you again next week. Peace.